Hi, welcome to my channel Cloud with Girish. In this video, I'm going to show you how to terminate EC2 instances using Event Bridge and Lambda function on scheduled time. With Cloud, initiating EC2 instances to host and run your application is super easy. You need these instances for your development, testing, production, failover, disaster recovery, proof of concepts, and many other reasons, unless you are 100% dedicated to serverless architecture and development. Over the period, company may spin on hundreds of EC2 instances and the cost will add up. With ease comes the shared responsibility model of AWS Cloud. Customer is responsible to pay for the cloud resources being consumed. FinOps, as you hear, is becoming very popular. One of the best practices is to understanding usage and cost of your cloud resources. Let's discuss this in the context of hundreds of EC2 instances you may have. You have to analyze if you really need all EC2 instances 24/7. Likely scenario is that your analysis will lead to data point that you need specific instances for a specific duration or within certain days and time period. Let's look at our business use case. We have two business use cases. Create the EC2 instances with a tag of GBDAV at 6 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Terminate the EC2 instances with a tag of GBDAV at 6 a.m. Eastern every Monday. In this workshop, I will show you how to terminate EC2 instances with a tag of GBDAV. I will use AWS Event Bridge, AWS Lambda with Python Boto3 library to accomplish this function. In prior workshop, I demonstrated a similar function for creating the EC2 instances. If you want to learn about starting and stopping the EC2 instances using Event Bridge rather than creating and terminating, please watch my video on this workshop. Link is in the description for this. Let's look at the architecture design. The first diagram here shows using the Event Bridge, we have a Lambda function schedule to create the EC2 instance. This I have covered it in the prior workshop. You can watch the workshop with the link in the description. The second diagram here is what I'm going to show you in this workshop. It's very similar pattern. Rather than creating an instance, we are terminating the instance by tag here. The prereq for this workshop is to have a EC2 instance with the tag and then familiarity to develop and deploy Lambda function locally using AWS SAM. I will be using AWS SAM for Lambda function. However, same can be accomplished using AWS console. I already have an EC2 instance with tag GBDAV. I also have code written for Lambda function, which I will review and share with this workshop. If you want to learn about creating and testing Lambda function, please watch my video on Lambda workshop. Link is in the description for this as well. For Event Bridge, I will use AWS console to set up the schedule that invoke the Lambda function using a cron job pattern. Let's get started. We're going to review our EC2 instance. We will review the AWS SAM template. We'll also review the AWS Lambda function. We'll build the function locally using AWS SAM. I'll invoke the function locally using SAM. We'll deploy the function to AWS Cloud using the AWS SAM framework. We'll create an Event Bridge scheduler. I'll define the cron job based on my use case. I'll assign the Lambda function to this Event Bridge scheduler. We'll wait for scheduler to invoke the Lambda, and then we will review the status of EC2 instance before and after the event. We'll also review the CloudWatch log. With that, let's look at the EC2 instance here. You will see that it has a tag of GBDAV. Instance state is running. It's a T2 micro instance type. In the US, it's to be availability zone. Here is our SAM template. This SAM template, as you can see, is creating a Lambda function with the name terminate EC2 with tag, using the runtime of Python 3.11 with a timeout of 15 seconds. And there is an environment variable here with a tag of gbdev, and there are policies that provide this function appropriate permissions to terminate the EC2 instance. In the next slide here, I have my Lambda function. There is a logger here that's going to log the events into the CloudWatch, and this function here is using the Boto3 is you looking for the tag gbdev, and if an EC2 instance is found with that tag, it will terminate that instance and log the information in the CloudWatch log. Let's build the function locally using AWS SAM. As you can see, the function has been successfully built. I'm using the SAM build command to build the function. Next command here is the AWS SAM invoke function command. So the function that has been built, I'm invoking it, and because I'm using the SAM serverless framework, it's invoking the function locally. The function is not yet deployed in the AWS cloud. Once I have the desired result from this function, next I'm going to use SAM deploy command to deploy this function in the AWS cloud. Once my function is deployed, I'm going to look for Event Bridge service, and from there I will create a Event Bridge scheduler. I'm going to name this scheduler as terminate EC2 gbdev, and I'm also specifying a cron job pattern based on my use case. In the next screen, I'm going to assign the Lambda function terminate EC2 with tag. This is the same function that we deploy just a few minutes back. Once the function is deployed, the scheduler is created. I'll wait for the scheduler to invoke the Lambda function. Once Lambda function has been invoked, let's look at the status of EC2 instance. With the function being invoked, the instance has been terminated. The state is now terminated. And if I look at my CloudWatch log, I will see the message that instance was terminated. With this workshop, an Event Bridge scheduler invoking a Lambda function to terminate EC2 instance have been successfully completed. Terminating these instances using infrastructure as code approach gives you control over when to terminate these instances per business use case and control the cloud cost. Hope you have enjoyed this tutorial. I'm working on some other interesting content on various AWS topics. These will be posted soon. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.